was up for parole. She was already freaked out by learning about the history of the place. I didn't want to make it worse by telling her it was also haunted. It's not the most exciting story, but it felt like a pretty strange series of events. Looking back on my childhood, I think an incredibly creepy set of experiences were taking place. But I was too young to understand the gravity. Only now, as an adult, can I sort of piece it together. See, my parents bought a rustic, 14-room farmhouse that was your typical out-in-the-middle-of-nowhere affair. Literally, miles upon miles of farmland, and in the center of it, our home. Like a lot of the properties around us, we had an unusually long driveway. I'd say this thing was about a quarter of a mile long, ending in a T where the road split. Our mailbox was down there, so was a little white fence. From our living room window, we could look all the way down to the end of that driveway. We could see everything from that picture window. And sometimes, at night, we would see things we didn't want to. Some nights, there'd be a man down there. He'd be in a car, parked there, waiting, headlights on. This wouldn't necessarily bother me. Like I said, I was a little kid. But looking backward through time and experience, I remember how worried my parents were, how nervously they watched that car, and yet, never once picked up the phone to call the police. They never once approached the man in the car. And I think now they were afraid, because what would happen if things happened? We were far from town, far from help. It was just me and my mom and my dad. And down about a quarter of a mile away was a man who maybe been thinking about doing something dangerous. Anything, really. Even though we never tacitly approached the subject, I guess I knew he was a man. When I walked down the driveway in the mornings to catch the bus, I'd see discarded beer cans and cigarettes. And once, a faded picture of my mother. Again, I say this didn't add up much as a small boy. But as an adult, I wonder who that man was. And why were my parents so afraid of him? I've shared this before, but I think it applies to this topic too. Me and two friends from my squadron went out one night to watch The Hunger Games while stationed in New Jersey. After the movie got out, it was already late at night, and the parking lot was mostly empty. We decide to stand around and bullshit while smoking before we start back towards the base. Out of nowhere, we see this U-Haul truck come flying into the parking lot. I jokingly say, "Oh shit, I hope it's not a fucking bomb coming after us," since we had all just got back from downrange. Well, the truck does make a line straight for us. Now we're a little worried about what's going on. The truck comes speeding up to us and stops directly in front of us. The driver looks worried as shit, and his wife is not looking any better. They ask us if they can use one of our cell phones because there is a person locked in the back of the U-Haul. We, of course, oblige and call the police for them. While waiting around, they explain it's his wife's ex-boyfriend, and he has been threatening them for a long time. That's